How does the WNBA's most electric scorer go from rising superstar to league exile in the blink of a season? Picture the summer of 2024. Highlight reels buzzing with Chennedy Carter's acrobatic drives, sports talk panels raving about her 50% shooting touch, and Chicago fans convinced they'd found their next franchise pillar. Fast forward a few short months, and that same player is boarding a flight to Chihuahua. Her WNBA locker cleared out, her phone silent except for notifications from fans asking what happened. The answer is anything but simple, because Chennedy's story isn't only about one flagrant hip check. It's about talent, temperament, and a league that finally decided character matters as much as buckets. But the moment everything shifted wasn't even caught by the scoreboard. The sky had just converted a layup. Players jogged up court, bodies drifting into their usual defensive lane when Chennedy's path curved sharply. 5 steps, 1 lowered shoulder, and the rookie phenom on everyone's merch t-shirt, Caitlin Clark, cartwheeled onto the hardwood. Commentators gasped, the United Center hushed, replay officials stared at a screen that felt hotter by the second. To casual viewers, it looked like a heat of battle collision. To veterans, it looked calculated. Within hours, slow-mo clips flooded social feeds with red arrows tracing Kennedy's deliberate sidestep. Hashtags Kwasha Protect Clark, Asha's Dirty Play, Asha WNBA Standards, Twasadnese trended before dawn. And here's the twist that scorched the bridge behind her. When the microphones appeared post-game, Chennedy leaned back, folded her arms, and let 7 words blow up whatever sympathy remained. I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions. Those words echoed louder than any flagrant siren. Fans shook their heads, teammates froze, executives took notes. A moment that begged for accountability instead became an indictment of attitude. If only that was the first time front offices had seen the warning light. Rewind to 2021. In Atlanta Dream practice, midsummer humidity, a verbal exchange so heated coaches stepped between players. Details never leaked, teams protect their own. But the fallout was public. Conduct detrimental to the team. Suspended, not sat, not fined, suspended. A season later, Los Angeles took the gamble, intrigued by her scoring upside, and within weeks, whispers emerged that minutes were shrinking for non-basketball reasons. Fast forward again. Chicago signs her, hopes the fresh start sticks, builds an offense around her, and watches history repeat itself. Yet none of those earlier storms drew national lightning the way the Clark collision did. Caitlin wasn't just any rookie, she was the league's headlining boom. Sellout crowds, prime-time slots, an 11-fold jump in jersey sales. Hitting that player turned a private personnel debate into a public referendum on sportsmanship. The WNBA, craving mainstream respect, couldn't afford fans wondering if cheap shots were routine. Sponsors certainly weren't crossing their fingers for another highlight like that, and so while Kennedy's agent called teams about training camp invites, general managers quietly replied with the same phrase: love the talent, hate the baggage. One even quipped anonymously, we wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. For 120 days, the league's free agency tracker refreshed without her name. Meanwhile, in Mexico, Adelitas de Chihuahua texted, when can you fly in? It wasn't the paycheck she'd envisioned, but it was a court, a ball, and a chant, not to rehabilitate stats, but to rehabilitate narrative. Yet the narrative refused to sit still. Days before crossing the border, Chennedy appeared on Neon's livestream podcast trying to rewrite the fateful hip check as just a light tap. Viewers rolled the clip again, angles multiplied. Side-by-side freeze frames crushed the word light. Instead of softening opinions, the interview reignited them. Was this denial, defiance, or desperation? When asked if she regretted the moment, she pivoted. Basketball's physical, she elbowed me first. A deflection that may work on playground asphalt, but not in a league broadcast to millions. Back in Indiana, Clark addressed the issue with a shrug bigger than any press release apology. Emotions flare. Happens to all of us. Next play. 7 calm words answered 7 dismissive ones, and subtly tipped the scales of public perception. Brands noticed. Parents noticed. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert definitely noticed. If the WNBA wants families buying tickets, who embodies its values better? The poised rookie elevating ratings, or the veteran who can't elevate above grudges? Skill meet character. Only one gets you the endorsement deal. Inside Chicago's locker room, the fallout was immediate. Veterans who'd been mentoring rookies on professionalism watched Kennedy's postgame stance and wondered what message it sent. Coaches crunching tape for defensive lapses had to field reporters' questions about culture issues. That's team zeal turned to fatigue. By season's end, management faced a crossroads: keep the leading scorer or keep the locker room together. They chose cohesion, declining even a qualifying offer. In a salary-capped league, letting an all-star walk for nothing is the loudest alarm you can ring. And the numbers made the decision sting. 17.5 points, 50% from the field, 33 games healthy. On pure analytics, you signed that player yesterday, but advanced metrics don't chart locker room eye rolls, practice energy dips, or the sponsor who calls asking why your starting five is trending for the wrong reason. Those intangibles were suddenly tangible. In 2025's WNBA, narrative equity joins cap space on every GM's spreadsheet. It wasn't always like this, but the league is different now. Caitlin Clark's rookie year proved a watershed. Overnight, national outlets covered regular season W games the way they once saved airtime for the finals. Ticket sites crashed, arenas opened upper decks, and even casual fans could name half of Indiana's roster by June. With that spotlight came scrutiny. Every hard foul dissected, every sideline glare clipped for TikTok. In that climate, Kennedy's hip check transformed from routine physicality into a symbol of old school toughness versus new school marketability. And when sponsors choose sides, they follow minds, not muscles. Meanwhile, Kennedy laced up in the LNBPF, dropping 31 points in her Mexican debut. Crowd loved it. Highlights bounced around YouTube. Commenters cheered the re-rise of a fallen star. But the bigger question hovered: would WNBA execs buy the redemption tour? They've forgiven before. Athletes with worse infractions have found second acts, but almost always after a public reckoning. A genuine apology, community outreach, proof the lesson stuck. So far, Kennedy has offered something closer to defiance. Teams don't fear the next bucket, they fear the next headline. And yet sports adore a comeback if the protagonist meets the moment. Maybe that moment arrives south of the border, in packed gyms where pressure feels lighter and every kid in the stands wears number 25 in permanent marker. Maybe she discovers mentors who recalibrate her competitiveness into controlled fire. Maybe a WNBA assistant coach catching Winter League film calls the front office and whispers she gets it now. If that happens, the league's open door policy on redemption will click. Contracts can be rewritten, reputations too, or maybe the door stays shut and Kennedy becomes the cautionary tale rookie seminars study each spring. Talent is your ticket in, temperament your ticket out. For now, that's the narrative the WNBA is merchandising. One where the sport's future is built on sellouts, sponsorships, and stars who understand the stage they're on. So where does that leave Kennedy Carter? Right now, she's 26 years old, averaging 30 in Mexico, and walking the tightrope between exile and evolution. The ball is still in her hands, just in a different country, in a different league, far from the spotlight she once owned. If she can channel her fire into leadership, own the mistakes instead of dodging them, and show front offices she's more asset than avalanche, the WNBA door could swing open again. But if denial keeps writing her story, the league will keep turning pages without her. So here's the question every general manager is quietly weighing: do you risk the chemistry of 12 players for the scoring of one? And here's the question for viewers at home: would you give Kennedy Carter another shot, or has the league already moved on? Let me know down below, because this saga isn't just about one athlete's fall. It's about the evolving rules of modern sports, where the highlight you create off the court can matter as much as the one you create on it. And in today's WNBA, the final buzzer on character always sounds louder than the crowd. Your move, Kennedy.